So how have you been? I've been playing a bit of Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. I've been playing a bit of both games.
That is a long title.
I haven't played way too much of it so far, but enough that I found some winter levels, and I sort of snuck in the songs as the background music in our Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer episode we did on YouTube.
I like
It's really nice music.
I'm Tiny.
Hey listeners, welcome to this kind of an episode of Cinematic
It's
Fantastic.
a Cinematic Fantastic mini-sode where we're gonna cover a couple movies in really brief, like, stream of consciousness.
A few. I thought a couple is like 2. Few is 3. Right?
That's what we're doing.
Okay. But okay, if our regular episodes are Dr. Evil, then these episodes are like Mini-Me. You know, his little tiny, person.
We're gonna catch up. His clones.
His clone, yeah.
This is us catching up on, some of the movies we missed out on as we were talking about them in our podcast.
And I know, William, and that there were a couple of episodes, specifically one that I remember that made you think of this, and I know which one it is. It's the Vampire Bat. Because during the Vampire Bat, we talked about Fay Wray and Lionel Atwill, and we were talking about, well, they got them together in that movie because they were doing 2 other movies together, and
these are the first 2 movies we're doing here is Dr. X and the Mystery of the Wax Museum. First, let's talk about Dr. X. Dad, what did you think about Dr. X?
Dr. X, I thought was very well done for its time. It feels like a locked room drama toward the end, like a mystery, because everybody is in all the suspects to a murder,
yeah, this is a mystery film where they are trying to figure out who is the one who is like
the Moon Killer.
The Moon Killer.
Yeah. All right. So yeah.
And the Moon Killer is like this killer who has like this like fantasy, like this. He talks about like this or Dr. Xavier. He is not. It's
Professor.
not Xavier. It's Xavier.
He's not Professor Charles Xavier.
What kind of name is that? They're trying to be too French.
No, that's probably how it's really pronounced.
But it's Dr. Xavier.
Xavier.
He's talking about, it's a reminder, the sea, the full moon, for instance, which is,
that's
of course, the Moon Killer.
That is Dr. Let me see what that doctor's name is.
Xavier.
No, not that guy. That's not the guy who talks about the moon. Dr. Rowitz is the one who is
this is at the beginning where, he is literally also the one who says, oh, I don't want publicity for this. This is at the beginning of the film.
That's right, yeah.
This is, well, first of all, the film starts out with our, like, main protagonist, who's Lee, who's, like, an inspector dude. But he's at the beginning.
News guy. He's a journalist.
Yeah, he's like a journalist. He's also the comedy relief. And he is like,
and he's also the love interest too. He's the love interest too, which I kind of like the fact that the funny guy is also the love interest. But I don't think that him and Fay Wray would have ended up together. But yeah, I don't know. She's really cute though. So sorry.
But yeah, they're investigating into a murder. Dr. Xavier is like, I don't want this to be public, but we know that it's within this entire place of doctors we have here.
Yeah, the scalpels. Yeah, the medical type scalpels. That
reminds me of the line. He's like incision made by a scalpel, embedded with a stratotritomazoid. Was the line?
Was it really
yes.
a structural isohedron trapezoid?
I know. And
no.
Also, apparently, his conclusion of what this must be is cannibalism. Certainly, no doubt. I was like, okay?
Well, this is pre-code, man. This is pre-Hays code. So they're going to... If you notice, there's little elements.
So this guy's got, like a fantasy for, like, cannibalism. So he's, like, the Moon Killer's, like, killing everyone. But, like, yeah, he says, he, like, looks at a couple of the different doctors. First is, the Dr. Wells, who likes cannibalism. He did, research into it, but he can't strangle people because he has, like, a fake hand. Next is Dr. Haynes.
Dr. Wells is a red hair. I think he's a red herring because, or they kind of go.
Yeah, he is the red herring.
He's crossed off the list, which we'll talk about.
Yeah, Dr. Haynes is the supposedly upkeep doctor that actually isn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, then there's Dr. Who has a Ruix. Sorry, who has a
Rorich.
So
Rover's name is...
Dr. Ruick's, he's got an eye patch, and there's also his assistant whose name is Professor Duke.
Wait. Dr. Roritz has a scar as well, which the
I thought that was an eye patch.
No, well, they get both. So, well, kind of.
An eye patch over his scar. And then there's Professor Duke, who's in a wheelchair. Ruick likes the moon, but he is a passive and lyrical guy. He's a poet, and so they don't really
it was funny. The head doctor guy, of course, just to let you know, Dr. X, whatever, Dr. Xavier, sorry. I said it wrong. He in this he says something that I laughed at it. He said, "Oh, Dr. Roritz wouldn't be the one to do this crime. He's quite a poet." I'm like, there's a lot of serial killers that wrote poetry, dude. So he could have done it. I mean, but anyway, I was kind of interested up to the end. Go, keep going.
But anyway, yeah, a bunch of kooky doctors for a serious institution, I will say. And then also we have the investigator guy who's like, he's got like Pratt tricks. He's got like a shake buzzer thing where you shake your hand.
You keep saying investigator. I mean, I would say journalist.
He's a journalist, but
the investigators are the ones that are telling the doctor, "Hey, we're going to make this public if you don't find the killer quickly," because the doctor said, "Let's keep this in house. I don't want the bad publicity."
He's gonna try and trial them with
48
like
hours.
A special experiment.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That was a surprise.
But Lee,
I like
Lee
that.
is the journalist who's on the case, but he's treated like a fly on a wall. He's the fly on the wall.
He's got quite a bit of
blow him off,
jokey scenes.
And he also has a lot of joke scenes. Which in this movie they're trying to like trial all the people by like strapping them to like these epic like machines, and then like
with the liquid. There's these liquid things that it's kind of like I guess a lie detector thing or a pulse tester or something.
A really extreme pulse tester where they're like showing him
it's
like
over
the
the top. It's way over the top.
But the thing is, Lee is like while doing that, like Lee is like trapped inside like secret houses and like
there's secret
like,
compartments
around. Apparently a little bit with ad-libbing because he was like bumping into like two skeletons and then like he sits down and he goes or whatever.
Yeah, I thought that was a little long.
They could have shortened those.
I think they were trying to go, hey, he's a little bit. He's got a sense of humor and he's kind of funny. So let's give him some room to do it a little bit. Just to let you guys know, this movie was thought lost for a little bit, but they found copies of it, and I think that
same with another movie that we're
cut,
doing.
Yeah. Right.
Same with the exact same. I hope you didn't confuse your research because that's literally.
And this movie is very colorful, and why is it colorful? Because it's got the two strip color. Our Robin Hood episode, William gave an epic history of two strip Technicolor. Go listen to that in full.
And we talked about how weird
story.
It was, like how it's like
dreamy.
Okay,
it's very dreamy. Did you notice that? Very dreamlike.
It's the color in this movie was like very yellowy green, a little bit of orange, not a lot of blue. That's basically the runaround. But this type of color,
I didn't hate
like
it.
colors are either very red or like orangey, very green or very blue. But they just don't
it looks like
coalesce.
It looks like somebody Photoshop colored a black and white thing, with some pastels. Does that make sense? All right.
Yeah,
all right.
I guess so. But also, it's like you don't get any straight blacks either, because obviously, like when you combine every color, it turns into straight black. You don't combine every color. You combine only two channels. It's either green black or blue black.
Okay, but again, back to this.
There's also
experiments in horror. Go ahead, William. Experiments in horror. What is Dr. Xavier doing?
Xavier's experiment. He does the experiment. He's like staging like the kills, and then like
to see if they get.
And it's a very classic stereotype. Is the blackout where everything like blacks out, and then the killer like kills something or steals.
I didn't know who it was. I didn't know who it was, and by the end, I was like, "Oh, okay,
so apparently,
that's nuts."
And then they were like, "Oh, Ruick's spiked the thing all the way to the top, which means that he was the killer, but he's dead." And then Duke is like walking around.
Oh, the guy in the wheelchair. He's like, it's a miracle. I can walk. I was like, you dummy.
And then they tried again where Xavier is in the chair next time, but. Throughout all this movie, they were dropping a lot of hints that he was it because there was a part of the movie where Xavier had a lot of killer hints. Except the one thing that you didn't expect is that Dr. Wells is the actual bad guy.
Oh, you just spoiled it. Okay.
No, that's the whole point of this.
Yeah, but you know what the part? the part where the moon is showing, and you hear Wells, kind of breathing like, and then he goes off. Okay.
Yeah, he goes off and he's like synthetic
flesh. Oh no,
and he's
okay,
like
no, wait a
wrapping
minute.
himself, and then he's
Wait
like
a
putting
minute.
clay on him. It's like
clue.
have you seen that commercial? Have you seen there's a commercial that's like, I love little baby's ice cream, and it's like this person like covered.
Oh, the Japanese thing where
cream,
he's eating it out of his own
like,
head.
Yeah.
No, that's so disturbing.
It's a lady, but
it's so disturbing.
It reminded me basically of that. And then like he puts like
clay
on himself, and he
like...
looks like Chucky. He looked like really derpy.
I thought it looked like he was rubbing frosting all over himself.
He was like a saw puppet, like
synthetic frosting. He did look like Jigsaw. He looked like Jigsaw. No, but here's the thing. I thought that makeup was pretty awesome. I was laughing the whole time because it was awesome. I was like, go for it.
Excuse me, and then he just like he jumps
That was
out and he
awesome.
poses as like the killer, but he's not actually. Apparently, also there was like Otis being really creepy to like the stand-in for like the washer lady who was like the killer.
Oh, Otto. The I
Otto?
thought you know what I
He
thought.
was also a red herring.
I thought it was I thought it was the butler because
he
remember
was
they
being
said
very creepy toward her though, but it was.
I was like, the butler did it, but no, it's Wells. He went and got a hand. He went and got a dead flesh hand, his fighting hand, if you want to do Doctor Who. He puts it on his stump and like brings it back to life by putting it in the field or something like that. And I'm like, oh no! I was sitting here going.
The whole thing with the
gosh.
mystery is that you're supposed to intuit who the killer is and be rewarded with how logical your thoughts were or how logical the story went. The fact that Dr. Wells was it, when they were hinting that it was, like, literally, like, Xavier. It could have even been Lee, I was thinking at the beginning.
I like that it was a surprise to me because I went, when they pulled the game piece off the board, it can't be that guy.
It was the epic red hair.
Yeah, it was, and the ending is pretty good. It makes the whole thing worth it.
Like, he falls out of the window on fire. That's, like, it beats Invisible. It's gotta be Invisible Ray. It's basically the same, but it's
pretty
funnier.
good. But Invisible Ray was, you could tell what was going on a little bit better. The dreamlike color can help in some instances.
Speaking
but
of presentation, the cinematography is a nice, good pace in this movie. There's also a lot of good
fogs,
a lot of great props. There was like a windy, outside of his house was very windy, so they had a lot of that. That was nice. There was
supposedly,
like a heart jar
he
prop.
likes to Michael Curtis, the director. He likes to have like something in between the camera and the actor, whether it's smoke or fog or a window or something like that. It's a nice framing of the whole scene. So, and I saw that, crane shots, lots of crane shots.
The one thing though, related to the one character who, as I said, was disguised as the washwoman, there was like a fake teeth chattering like sound when she was like, "Oh, your teeth," and then like a fake creaking noise when she like opened the door thing or whatever.
Well, the creaking noise you would expect. The chattering was not.
It was
not
very
realistic.
cheesy. Oh, and there was like a gulping like liquid sound effect because she was like gulping like her medicine or something. It sounded like the Minecraft burp noise.
Well, they put a lot of extra stuff in there.
It literally did. I'll play it. It literally did.
Fay Wray did okay.
Okay, was any of the actors not okay? Because most of the actors were alright or pretty good.
Yeah, I thought some of the doctors were kind of okay. I mean, they were just there to kind of, they were, and the fact that the guy who played Wells was not somebody I recognized really well. I was expecting it to be one of the main characters, one of the ones that are listed on the actual poster. You know what I mean? I thought it was going to be Dr. Xavier. I was like, he's putting all this stuff together to find the killer, and he's really the killer. So it is, but at the end where he actually handcuffs himself to the chair, I mean, that to me says, hey, he's okay with. I was like,
he doesn't even know if he's the killer.
Maybe not. All right. So at this point, that kind of sews that up. I gave it a good review.
So The Mystery of the Wax Museum
is
a movie. It is another mystery movie, obviously, with the start of it. It is about, basically, to summarize it, a spoilery summary, is that there is
Lots
this
of spoilers
sculptor
here, people.
who makes a wax museum, but he ends up being an evil sculptor.
Well, he doesn't start out evil.
No,
there's a prequel part of the little, starter where he's awesome. He's
the dude
really
has
good
a
guy.
wax museum. No one comes to see him though. So this guy comes in and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna burn it down. See me try," and he does.
Well,
it's
for the he owns the thing. Excuse me. So anyway, he's really creative. It's amazing. He does this Marie Antoinette and Joan of Arc, and they're beautiful. And they're all in wax. And the guy's like, well, nobody's coming to it, so we're gonna make more money, burning this place to the ground for insurance money.
Yeah, he burns it down, and so they're like fighting. So it's like, why are you worried about fighting? You should worry about your wax dolls like burning. And so they end up catching all on fire.
It's horrible. And I think
5 minutes in, and this dude's life has been wrecked.
He does. He is in a wheelchair, I think, for later on, because it's time skips ahead about 10 years. It starts in 1920, and time skips ahead to
1933, the literal next year that this movie come out, because it came out in 1932.
Right. He's in a wheelchair.
It's the new year.
He's starting over with this whole thing. Yeah, it's new. The new year is definitely happening.
We get a female protagonist in this movie, which is pretty amazing. I mean, we haven't had stuff like that.
And do you know who I thought she was? Fay Wray. I thought that blonde girl that was like real, quick with the main girl. She's like again, we have a journalist, right? A journalist that kind of has some humor, right? I think this guy does this a lot. But anyway, this journalist girl, she's really, really funny. I thought she was real quick-witted. She reminded me of that classic 30s kind of fast-talking heroine. And I was like, Fay Wray really has a big range. And then later on, I was like, oh, wait a minute. Fay Wray plays the other girl that doesn't do much than just look pretty. And I'm like, oh, dang.
She's great, but she is being fired by Jim, the editor, who is, he is a line reader, man. He was just like, I'm going to do this, say this thing, and this thing, and this thing.
And then I'm done. I'm done with my line.
We get a lot of clues throughout the movie that the sculptor is shady, because they're, like, hiding something in, like, a box that the guy... Oh, by the way, like, we see, like, this monster, like, man that looks like... the guy from Dr. X. It looks like Dr. Wells, so I put Dr. Wells in my notes.
I saw those out of order. I watched these out of order, so I didn't think that at all.
Yeah.
I watched Wax Museum first.
So he's stealing the corpse, like a corpse from the morgue, and so they're all trying to investigate.
Yeah, of the girl who had committed suicide,
right.
supposedly.
The Wax Museum is being rebuilt, and he's not really happy with its hires. He's like, what animal have you designed? Have you studied anatomy? One of them was, like, deaf, so he was like, and I was like, are you kidding me? Are you really kidding me?
Well, here's the thing. I think that was a red herring too, because that he says, "Oh, that man is harmless," and yeah, he's harmless, but one of the characters kind of is scared of that, and I'm like, that was a thing where.
But eventually, he's much scarier later.
But anyway,
on, right?
But we won't find that out till later.
So what happens next?
Well, I believe that he's saying, pose for me or whatever, and the journalist girl is getting closer because I think she noticed something like, I don't know if it was like the morgue tag or something like that. Was that what it was? The morgue
yeah,
tag?
like there was a tag, but it gets immediately stolen after. Also, I noted down that her striped shirt that she wears underneath her coat looks like the Spider-Man suit. It did. It was like all red and striped black and stuff.
I did not notice that. All right, so.
But yeah, the mystery throughout this film is who's the creepy man and how does he relate to the evil sculptor. Also, by the way, this Dr. X had an annoying character as a protagonist, while this one doesn't really.
Well, what about his? No, the guy who that burned everything down was named Worth, and he keeps popping in, but I don't know how influential. He's supposed to be influential on the. Oh no! Yeah. Well, they thought Worth was the bad guy. I mean, the killer for some reason. But inside some kind of coffin was actually a bootlegging. He was bootlegging.
He was bootlegging alcohol.
Yes. Which, did you notice that there was a couple different times?
Which, who knows? I mean, probably a big store from Prohibition times.
No, that's right. This was during Prohibition. Did you notice?
Well, no, it was it takes place in 1933. But
no.
I was just saying.
Prohibition was still on heavy for a little bit.
Oh right. No, okay. I guess that makes sense. They wouldn't just drop alcohol legalized again without a reason.
There's little hints
also,
in both these movies about that.
The creepy man in this movie actually being creepy instead of just hiding in the shadows for comedy. Like Dr. X had like the killer just like pop out randomly, but it was only for like Lee to like not notice him. So it was funny. But in this movie, I like how he's actually like scary and he's like, like transporting the boxes and it's cool.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so
But he invites Charlotte into the Wax Museum, and then there's like all the Goonies like look like they're about to beat her. They all look like they're about to like beat her up, and then like he traps her in this basement, which is really big. It's a huge
Yes.
basement. I will say, you know, like, the scope of, like, the amount of locations is much bigger than Dr. X. And I'm like, that for a lot of these reasons, like...
The bubbling
cinematography,
wax
scope,
liquid.
props, a lot of things. Just up this movie in many ways.
Yes, and the thing is, you know, I remember this movie too but in a different way. There was a remake of this that had Vincent Price that came out in the 60s called House of Wax, and it's been remade again in the 2000s. It was really bad, but the House of Wax one was pretty good, and it actually did 3D and stereophonic sound. So, you know, this one had the 2-strip Technicolor as kind of its gimmick, and the House of Wax that came out later had 3D as its gimmick. But I remember the scene, Charlotte actually is fighting with Igor, whatever his name is, and she grabs his face and she rips it like it's made out of wax.
Yeah. This is what happens in this movie as well. He turns out to be his own wax figure, and he's actually the creepy old man in this movie.
He's scarred because of the fire, probably from the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, and so...
the journalist girl.
She's the one that he invited her over and is about to inject with wax so that she turns into a statue.
Oh, right.
But yeah, he's literally about to wax mold inject her, but then they stop her. They stop him by, like, this epic, like... He, like, drops into, like a pool or something.
It's the wax stuff. So he's burned and melted and
yeah,
all
at
that.
this point I was like, big basement with water in the middle, wheelchaired man and with a withered face. Seems like spoilers for Silent Hill
right.
Downpour, like the ending.
I am not aware of all the Silent Hill games, so
It probably should be, but I just will say that the ending is basically sort of like that. It reminded me a lot of that. But yeah, this big, like, basement thing. Anyway.
But I was mistaken about this movie. I thought the journalist girl was Fay Wray, and her name is Glenda Farrell. Sorry, everybody, I didn't want to say the actress's name is Glenda Farrell, and she does a great job in this. I thought she was a bright spot in this movie. I mean, Lionel Atwill, good job, but I found myself smiling and laughing at just how good she was in this movie. I just want to give her flowers.
Yeah, some of the laughing points I had in this movie was the corpse that he, like, steals, the first corpse that was like a Joan Gale, pops, like, up, risen, and then, like, that's a bit, but he says, oh, it's embalming fluid that makes him jump. I'm like, what?
No, I have never heard of that. I think, honestly, it's probably
You don't remember that one?
I remember that, but I don't think that is really scientifically true. I think, gases do come out of people, when they're the corpses and everything, but I don't think they would, like, sit up like that.
But what did you think of the production value?
The production value is very similar to, I think, Dr. X in terms of...
Yeah, I feel like...
The sets were great.
It surpasses that, and then that surpasses, like, the Old Dark House or something. Because it's, like...
The Old Dark House is pretty... The old dark house is pretty hard to beat.
Big sweeping cinematography, as you said. He loves those crane shots. They're really nice crane shots, especially in this big basement. It may just be the Technicolor talking, but man.
Yeah.
But yeah, more variety of environment and happenstance than Dr. X, and it also shows the color off more wonderfully.
I like the Mystery of the Wax Museum just fine. I remember it when it was House of Wax as well.
It is a very distinctive movie, I will say.
It's a distinctive story. And I think it works well when you do it right.
It has like a distinctive, like, styling to it. And you're like, oh, this wax figures, like, you wouldn't really see these in any other movie. Unless it's Chucky the doll.
I liked it a lot.
Yeah. So, what's the Ghoul like? Can you sort of summarize the plot?
Oh, boy. Okay. I will give you my little thumbnail of the plot real quick and then try to make sense of the middle. You're probably not going to be very pleased with me because... I had some good things to say about it and some bad things to say about it.
I just want to know what you think.
Well, it wasn't my favorite of the three. I'm sorry. I know you don't want to hear me, say that, but
I can get it, but
Yeah. Well, let's put this way. It's got Boris Karloff and it's got ancient Egypt and immortality in it and Anubis, and you're like, okay. I'm feeling it. Okay, and it's also got Ernst Thesiger, who played Dr. Pretorius.
Oh yeah, it does. He's got like this ashy makeup and like a
yes.
Scottish accent. I'm like,
oh,
okay.
It's very very thick Scottish brogue. He is rolling those R's like ocean waves. But he's being
Scrooge McDuck here.
He is doing Scrooge McDuck. He was also in The Old Dark House. I loved him in The Old Dark House as well. Ernst Thesiger. He did a great job.
Have a potato.
But he did an okay job. But I think it didn't elevate the material. Here you don't get as much of even Boris Karloff as you did in The Old Dark House.
Yeah, one thing I will say, this movie gets to a really slow start.
Well, it starts out interesting, and then the middle sags.
Yeah, 40 minutes until the full cast gets in the house, and then in the middle they're just like
it's so saggy in the middle.
They're just like they're just talking and talking and talking and talking frivolously.
Well, okay, yeah, but listen to this: the cinematography, the chiaroscuro, the darkness, and the light. That I think was done very well.
I will say this movie is very gothic.
Yes, and the lighting scheme. If they only did it as quickly moving as a Universal movie, but you don't see Boris Karloff really killing it. So literally till towards the end of the movie, and he's not even doing as much emotionally as he would do as
he doesn't appear to threaten the cast until like an hour in.
But Frankenstein's monster had pathos. You cared about his emotionality.
He was in the movie a lot sooner. The Ghoul is basically just the Mummy, but shorter, or rather, like he hunches over more, like to get that forest man axe sort of feel.
Choky.
He's more sinister and monstery. He's also got great makeup too. Very bony, very veiny.
Well, bony, but he's got a mixture between what looks like a unibrow. He also has his black around his eyes. I was watching one scene. I was like, he looked like Robert Pattinson from the Batman from 1920, from 2022, because he had that makeup around his eyes. I was like, okay.
But yeah, his character is sort of confusing in this because he's incredibly religious for Anubis and stuff.
Yeah,
superstitious.
It's all about this stupid jewel. They're like, the jewel's over here.
Yeah, we start with a guy who's wanting to kill this scientist who's also Egyptian, I think. This scientist who's wanting a jewel called the Eternal Light that opens up paradise is the quote, I think.
Yeah, immortal. It's all about immortality.
He doesn't have it though.
This whole movie is about
But Boris Karloff does, and he's dying, so he's giving it off to Ernst Thesiger, I think.
Ernst Thesiger is supposed to put the jewel in Boris Karloff's hand and bandage it to his hand.
Yeah, which interestingly, according to The Story of Anubis, Google Arts and Culture is the full title of the web. It's
okay.
The quote that Google gave me is that Anubis assisted in resurrecting Osiris through mummification, which I thought was interesting because he's wrapping his hand here. And
I thought he was wrapping it so that the jewel would not leave his hand until it goes to Anubis.
But Anubis, he's Anubis is resurrecting him, and he wrapped his hand. I thought that was interesting.
I think you're giving this movie more credit than it deserves. But hey, I like your research.
I thought about it. I was like, I wonder if Anubis has anything to do with resurrecting anyone. I was like, oh,
it does actually, yeah.
But
he's the the judge over the dead. He weighs your heart against a feather. But again, we're getting into mythology here.
This movie has a very cast that just rambles and stuff.
And they run around in the dark, and who's got the jewel, it's very shadowy. A lot of stuff I couldn't tell what was going on because it was too dark. I mean, I like dark movies, but in some ways, but I couldn't tell what was going on.
Without 20 minutes runtime, and as Wikipedia calls it, a gaggle of interlopers to keep track of. Which here are all the interlopers, who are all the cast of this movie that appear in 40 minutes into the entire film. It's 1 hour and 20 minutes, by the way. So yeah, there's Ralph Moreland,
right.
His cousin Betty, her friend Miss Caney, who's she's fantastical, and she's
she the one that's real interested in.
Yeah, the Egyptian scientist comes in, and she's do you ride on a white stallion? And then she reads Peter Pan. She's
right.
the type of girl to do that.
Yeah.
There's the butler's assistant who might have been the thief who steals them at all. Who's Ernst Thesiger. There's the solicitor, Mr. Broughton. Nigel Hartley, who's the parson, the priest.
The priest is the only
scientist, as
real
I said. There's also
character of note.
Also, the guy in the fez, I think, is there, but I think he, leaves really late. I think they, tease him, but he doesn't appear.
Yeah, who knows?
He gets out of a car, that's it. But yeah, they're trying to make sense of what's happening with the jewel. Where is it? While Boris Karloff tries to kill everyone. That sounds like a very, I love the story premise. It's like, they're trying to figure out what on earth happened while Boris Karloff tries to kill everyone.
But I didn't like it. No,
they didn't execute it that well.
But here's the thing, is I think they're trying to do a Universal monster movie. I do. But it's just so dark and so
long.
Stiff upper lip British. It is long. It feels like nothing is happening in the middle.
British, it's good for the British to have like their own like monster movies where like
no,
Universal
but they do
was
later.
in America.
They do later. Like I said, the Hammer movies honestly are their way of doing a British Universal monster movie.
Well, at the time they're very lacking, which makes me think of. I wonder what Japan was doing with like. Did they do like Universal classic like horror or whatever? What they did for that kick.
Well, Japanese movies really kicked off when with the 50s and the monster movie craze and sci-fi. That's where they really blew up. No,
but,
okay.
How does this movie end?
Oh yeah, okay. Well, Betty and Ralph.
I think I just like finished the movie, so I think I can recount how the movie ends for you guys. So yeah, Boris gives the jewel to like the statue. I think he like gets the jewel. He gives it to like the statue of Anubis inside his tomb, and then promptly dies. After which they all try to attack each other. Because they're like, yo, you're not great. You're jumping in on us, and you're shady.
Oh, the hand closes around the thing, but it's actually the parson, the fake vicar, whatever his name is. He's put his hand where Anubis's hand is, and he got the jewel.
Yeah, so everyone's trying to attack each other. Someone pulls a gun.
There's a bomb, and they lock the two lovebirds into the tomb.
Yeah, at one point he like uses the gem to like mind control the dude away, and then he locks him in the tomb.
Oh, that shows how bored
he was
I
like
was.
he was like moving at him.
I honestly, hey, you probably picked up more than I did because I was like, I'm bored. I'm sorry.
And then like Mrs. I'm not gonna look at my notes again. Casey or whatever. She gets the jewel because the
she
dude
almost
who
drops
just
it in the
walked
well,
him,
right?
Wait. The dude who just ran out of the tomb, he encounters her, and he's like, yo, what are you doing here? And he runs past her, but then he drops it so that she gets it, and then she has it, and then they're like, two more people come in, and they're like, wait, the jewel, and then she runs off, and she's about to jump into a well.
Yeah.
She's about to jump into a well, and she's like, I'm about to jump in.
You'll never get it again.
Meanwhile, the ritual that he just did, there's fire coming from it that, like, burns the ghoul up, and it also, like... apparently they
there
was
a lamp. There was a torch lamp. There was a torch lamp that that got shot.
And then they used that to open the door to their escape by combustion somehow.
Yeah, go figure.
They're like, lead it to the door. They lead to the door. That blows them out of the tomb. And then, like, the authorities, of course, the lady gives
and
the
two
jewel
lovebirds give a nice little kiss, and it's like, oh, well, yay.
Which is honestly very confusing, sort of, when you think about it. It's like, how did they know that it was going to blow them out of the tomb?
You know what? I was just like, thank you, God. Just end it.
Yeah, at this point, 2 times speed, and it was still boring. I just finished it. But
the thing is, though, this movie was lost for a long time.
I just finished it, like, 10 minutes before recording.
I'm glad we had this movie around. But oh my goodness, I can't even.
Yeah, at one point, like, the Universal Monster Wiki, like, mentioned it. I was like, maybe I should put this on our list and see what that's about. And, thanks. You're welcome.
Yeah. Well, okay, Dr. X, I put Dr. X was the best one to me because I liked the murder mystery aspect of it. The Mystery of the Wax Museum I'd put as number 2, which I still liked it a lot, but I think that I kind of knew some of the scenes because of House of Wax with Vincent Price. And then
Dr. X was a really good, like, horror-y sort of thing, but Mystery of the Wax Museum was a bit better of a more, like, actual, like, mystery, I'd say. And it didn't, like, fake you out that much. It, like, gave good hints. And then you were like, okay, this dude's evil. He was evil. So, I will say the Mystery Wax Museum is, by sticking its tongue out, like like the cars, like how you stick your tongue out and then you slightly run the race. I'd say that is number 1. Dr. X is number 2, and then Ghoul is just not doing it for you.
It's a bronze.
It just needed to be just sloop 20 minutes and then cut the cast in a third. Like, have a
Yeah.
third of the cast there. I mean, I can't deny the funness of having a cast like that, but they just
Give some more
did not-
lighting.
They did not do that.
I like the darkness, but Universal knew how to do dark with light.
I will say this is a better version of the Monster Walks. It literally is. They go into a guy's inheritance, and then a monster comes to attack them.
Yeah, but the Ghoul did not have a Sleep and Eat, and I know that Sleep and Eat was a racist caricature, but the dude was funny. I mean, and he, and that's enough to watch it and go, what am I watching? It's like, we watched The Ape, but with this, I was just like, the worst that a movie can be to me, William, is boring. Even if it's wackadoo stupid, but it's like constant, and I'm like, what is going on?
The worst thing is unremarkable.
Yes, that
like
too.
The Star Wars Holiday Special, which we're gonna have a video on our YouTube channel soon, was unremarkable. It was unremarkable. It was you couldn't say anything about it at all, really.
Yeah, and boring, and was boring too.
Nothing good, nothing bad, just slog.
Yeah, it was a marathon. But
And
anyway,
I'll say that's sort of this movie, although it's definitely a lot more action-y, so I will give you that. It's got action. It's pretty good for that.
Well, William, if you liked the early works by Michael Curtis, Captain Blood, which is, I think, one of the first times Michael Curtis worked with Errol Flynn and Olivia de Havilland.
Yeah, we talked about Captain Blood in our Adventures of Robin episode, as that was relevant to Errol Flynn.
Thank you guys for listening. We are doing this as an experiment.
We're doing this as an experiment. We also have another experiment. I had an idea because I saw someone did a video on which, Pokemon or something would canonically eat pizza, and which ones didn't hear pizza and stuff. And I was like, that sounds like a really fun idea. I wonder if we could do that with the Universal Monster cast and some of the cast of our podcast. So I made a bunch of random questions, and they are kooky, and we are going to opinionated
and we're going to do them, if you want to do them rapid fire.
Yeah, but this is fun spontaneity that we've got here.
Improvisation!
I have a little script here that will randomly pick a question out of a bunch of them.
I'm ready.
Okay, and which character eats Cinnamon Toast Crunch for breakfast? So which one is a Cinnamon Toast Crunch liker? Which one would eat Cinnamon Toast Crunch?
I don't think Dr. Jekyll would, because he'd probably eat beans on toast.
Yeah, he's we gotta avoid a lot of the Middle English guys, which would the full English breakfast people. Honestly,
maybe,
a bit of the Mummy cast, and then Jekyll and Hyde, those sort of casts.
I see Fay Wray, her character in King Kong, as eating cereal. Or was she big into apples? Did she stole an apple? She stole an apple in that movie, right? I can't remember.
I feel like for some reason Dr. Moreau from the Island of Lost Souls speaks a lot of Cinnamon Toast Crunch to me, because I feel like it's just some sort of it's that fun cinnamony goodness that you've got to have. It feels really good for eating while looking over your experiments.
All right, go ahead. Do another one. I hopefully it's not about food.
Yeah, a lot of these are gonna be school related stuff.
Maria, the little girl who gets drowned from Frankenstein, she would be asking her father Ludwig for Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Ooh, this is a fun one. Okay. Which one would order nothing but the restaurant's secret menu? So how Taco Bell, people were the Hulk taco was on the secret menu. Which characters would eat from the restaurant secret menu?
It would be somebody, okay, William, who thinks themselves above, the hoi polloi of just the regular, vanilla people of planet Earth. They would be like, I ordered from the secret menu. It's got to be somebody who thinks that they're above. It's got to be
Count Zaroff,
yes.
Or the Mummy.
No, the mummy would not need even to eat. I think that he just subsists on his own immortality.
I feel like Count Zaroff is just an Arby's guy.
No. Count Zaroff would not eat, any place that has a secret menu. He would what he would do is he would have his cooks he'd go kill a fresh antelope or something.
That's why I'm he would be like Arby's, because that's the roast beef.
No. Martin Trowbridge from Dangerous Game. You know, the guy who says, you know, it's cute. You know, Martin Trowbridge. He would eat Arby's. He looks like an Arby's guy. He looks like Arby's kind of material.
Well, yeah, maybe, but then again, he wouldn't order from the secret menu because he doesn't like he's not that, you know, he doesn't have that much in his brain. Sir Joseph Wemple is like an archaeologist from like the Mummy, so maybe he would like, you know, if he was like, you know, he wanted to like
he loves secrets.
He loves he's like he sees restaurants as like dig sites. He sees this as archaeological
I like that.
sites.
That's your best so far.
Okay, I feel like he would be the one to order from this secret menu.
Yes.
All right, you want to do one more?
Well, I would say Horace Phim from the old dark house would eat at Chick-fil-A and he would order waffle fries so he could have a potato. No, go ahead. All right, no, go ahead. You go ahead. What's your thing? Go ahead.
Okay, funnily enough, I think you might have just answered one of the questions unintentionally, because one of the questions was basically like goes to a restaurant but orders just fries.
That would be Ernest Theising.
Ooh, has a skeleton in the closet. Like embarrassing secrets. Which one of them seems the most like suspicious of having
like a literal skeleton?
Like I mean like, you know, secretly likes like manga or something but like hides it from everyone else.
I was gonna say Dr. Waldman from Frankenstein because he literally has a skeleton in his little teaching theater where Fritz goes and steals the brain, the abnormal brain.
But this is like, you know, like reads like manga in like secret, but like hides it from everyone, but like is a real enthusiast of that. But it's a skeleton in the closet.
Well, Saul Phim, I mean, from the old dark house, he likes to burn things. So maybe I don't know. Maybe his secret is he likes to burn. No, that's kind of that's I don't know. You mean has a secret that no one else.
I feel like he's also an Arby's guy.
I don't want to.
That's just me stereotyping.
Let's not talk about Lionel Atwill and you know and secrets, as we know that you know his secrets destroyed him as an actor. So let's just say
I feel like Knock would be like, you know, he would like the manga in secret or something.
Oh, that's right. You know, he of course, you know, because he likes to eat.
Because he's generally shifty, but then he's like, we don't know that too much about like his personality. So it's like I feel like he's really open to like most anything.
Isn't Knock? You know, Renfield, kind of.
Yeah. He was, you know, he's like the assistant to Count Orlok and Nosferatu.
Well, and I have no idea because a lot of these characters, their secrets are a lot more devastating than hey, I secretly like Hello Kitty. You know, well, Dwight Frye's character from Vampire Bat would secretly like, you know, Batman comic books.
To be more open about that definition, yeah, I feel like Knock has got a lot of, you know, like secrets knocking at his door.
That's it. All right. So, anything else you can think of before we head out tonight?
No, except probably expect a couple more of these. These are honestly pretty fun to do and are gonna probably be pretty, you know, short experiences. So, you know, just, you know, listen to one of these while, you know, preparing for work or breakfast. Thinking about, like, as you're eating Cinnamon Toast Crunch, which Universal Monster character would eat Cinnamon Toast Crunch?
I definitely know that some of the Universal Monster characters would start their own cereal, you know, because you got Count Chocula and you got Boo Berry and
yeah, there's already like the Halloween cereals.
Yes, absolutely. So, all right, so we'll let everybody go tonight, and of course today.
And one of the next episodes we are doing. Will include Captain Blood, as we've been talking about doing that.
Yeah, plus a couple others in that mix, too. So,
plus a couple others.
Have a good one.